The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Huddle Up here on the Bambino's Italian Cafe studio on the Missouri Sports Network. Let's get around the room. Let's introduce everyone. I'm Jay Mack. They call me, that's Guy, the scoreboard guy, and that's DA, Coach. Hey, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We got a lot to talk about today. Fellas, how's everyone doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Never been better. Just one time I'd like to be better, but I'm pretty good.
What about you, Coach?
Hanging in there. Basketball started. It's about to get geared up full gear and excited for the season.
Well, I already vote you Coach of the Year. You ain't won a damn game yet. So that's what I can do. You know why? Because we don't have committees around here, damn it. We just pick who we want. And if Coach goes 2-17 this year, then damn it, I don't care. He's going to get my vote. That's just how it's going to be. And if you're mad at me, don't show up talking all that crazy stuff about who voted and how did you vote. It's just I do what I want to do when I want to do it and how I want to do it. And damn it, Coach Arch is the Coach of the Year. All right, fellas. It's a great day in the Ozarks. I'm going to tell you why. I get to do some reporting I haven't done in over 2 months. It's been a long damn time. Really, I haven't really done it since almost a calendar year since the Kansas City Chiefs lost a football game. Well, I think it was to the Las Vegas Raiders sometime last year, and I was happy then, and I couldn't be more happier now. Now, for the record, I am not a Chiefs hater. I don't want anyone to think that. I just hate their fans. And that's what's happening in my world right now because you're fanatical. You've cheated your way to 3 Super Bowls that can never be taken from you. You've had pass interference calls. You had mysterious fumbles. And you've had some very questionable non-holding penalties on a right tackle who literally choked somebody. Like, there was more going on some of those things than a Mike Tyson fight. But here we go. The Chiefs are 9-1. The Bills, they roughed them up. Guy, I'm going to let you get into it because I know you got on cheap underwear right now. What happened last week, Guy? Tell me about it.
Well, Patrick Mahomes in that first series throws that interception. That was a terrible interception. He's 23 for 33 for 156 yards. He does have 3 touchdowns, but he throws 2 interceptions. You got to give him the last one because there's a minute and a half left in the game, and they're down 9, and it's a 4th and 13. Meanwhile, you got Josh Allen, 27 to 46. He also throws a pick, but he gets a TD and a rushing TD and throws for 262 yards. And the Chiefs only rushed for 78 yards and no touchdowns. And the Bills had 3 touchdowns on the ground. But they maintained time of possession. They had the football so long in that game, almost 10 minutes longer than the Chiefs did. And I still think the Chiefs will get the 1 seed. But I don't know that they're not going to go undefeated. But I think if they can go 5-2 over these last 7, I think they'll be the 1 seed.
I agree with that, Coach. The question, Coach, I want to pose to you: are the Chiefs the best team, and even still considered the best team or the team to beat? Even though Buffalo just beat them, Pittsburgh's playing really good in the AFC also, and you got Baltimore. Coach, are the Chiefs the best team, but they just had a bad game?
I think their injuries finally caught up to them. Obviously they've been missing a lot of pieces for a while now, but they've also been living on the edge and depending on their defense. And I think that they just ran into a buzzsaw in Buffalo playing at home. And I think it had more to do with that. Now, as far as them being the best team in the AFC, I hesitate to say yes. There are a lot of teams playing really well right now. You mentioned Pittsburgh. I'll tell you another team that's kind of lurking back in the bushes is Houston. They're pretty good, and I think it's going to be a dogfight when all the dust is settled and the playoffs start. There's going to be a lot of good teams that are going to be in those lower seeds. They're going to have a very good opportunity, even if the Chiefs are the number 1 seed, to knock them off in an early round.
I agree with you. You know, if we go back to the week before, I don't know what the guy was doing from the Broncos, number 54, but it looked like he was a mannequin, and he just sat there and let somebody just run him over. Who loses a football game on the last kick? Where I'm thinking, hey, I was happy then. I had popped the beer and everything. I was ready to get it on, and next thing I know, I'm sitting there going, they blocked the kick. No way. These Chiefs might go undefeated, but with their upcoming their upcoming schedule, they got Carolina, and they go there. The Raiders and Chargers, Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh, and Denver. You see them going 5-2, and you see them still being the best team. Nope.
Well, I tell you right now, the way they're playing right now, I don't even know if they're the best team in their division.
Yeah.
I mean, here come the Chargers, and that's a team I think you got to watch out for. You know, and the NFC West or AFC West, probably you'd think maybe the best division in football, but that NFC North with what Minnesota's doing, you know, Green Bay, Chicago's not playing really well right now, but I worry about the Chargers, you know, on December the 8th, and then you got that stretch where you play the 15th, the 21st, and the 25th. You're playing 3 games in 10 days, and with their bye week being so early in the season, I think they have to go 5-2. I don't know that they can with Pittsburgh remaining, Houston remaining, and the Chargers. And hell, the Broncos are playing well right now. Bo Nix, he really showed out in that game against the Chiefs, and he's maturing so much right now as a quarterback that I worry about the Chiefs right now. I don't know that they're the best team in their division at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. I just see Pittsburgh, the way they can control the pace of a game. I've never seen anything, and I've been watching Pittsburgh do this for the last 2 seasons. You'll see a 21-17 game with Pittsburgh that very rarely gets out of control. They don't get sped up. They don't fret about long yard situations. They play defense. Got a good, solid special team game, Coach. But so, you know, with that being said, fellas, let me do this. Let's kick this thing around a little bit, see what happens this next week. But I want to talk about Missouri State. I was sitting there listening to the radio, and everyone was talking about, well, if they win, they'll be this, and if they win, they'll be that. And they went, and I'm going, that's a telltale sign that they're probably going to lose. It doesn't mean that it affected the game, but when people have that mentality, I go, that's the wrong mentality. Coach, the Bears go up to North Dakota State, getting that dome, and they pretty much get manhandled, Coach. Was that just a one-game hiccup with the early touchdown, then the turnover on the next play, then another touchdown, or was that a sign that Missouri State was somewhat of an imposter?
I don't think so much that they're an imposter. I think it's more that North Dakota State is that good. I mean, they're number 1 in the nation for a reason. Yeah. And playing at home, I think that question could be answered this coming weekend.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they have another ranked team that they will play this weekend, and it'll be the last game of the season. And you know, with Missouri State not being able to advance in the playoffs, which is a shame because they probably would have made it this year. Yeah. That they're playing for pride, and I believe it's South Dakota State that they have this weekend at home. That would be a great way to finish off, and I think it would answer that question. Right. You know, hey, they were pretty solid this year, and for real.
Yeah, Guy, what are your thoughts on Missouri State with how they just got manhandled on the ground?
Well, I tell you, with 8.5 or a little under 8.5 minutes left to go in the second quarter, it's 28-0. And they've got to get bigger up front. You know, they gave up 364 yards rushing and only rushed for 86 in that game. And Coach Archer was talking a little bit about they've got South Dakota coming in. It's a home game. It's senior day. You look at South Dakota; they're the number 3 ranked team in the country.
South Dakota State.
Yeah. You know, they are the number 3 ranked team in the country, and Missouri State is 1-13. You know, against South Dakota State, with the last win coming 11 years ago. That's a tall task. But mathematically, they still got a chance to win the conference or win a share of the conference if they win that. And if North Dakota State happens to lose, they'll be the outright champion. So they got something to play for outside of pride. They've got the pride and the parents that'll be there at the game on senior day. You should have a lot of folks there. It's supposed to be a beautiful fall, crispy day on Saturday there at Plaster Stadium.
Yeah, and then you go to the Tigers, who Oklahoma game they played, and they came out. That was a miraculous kind of last 30 minutes of that game. It was a barn. It was kind of a snoozer before they go to South Carolina, up to Columbia, South Carolina, and had a chance to win, and their defense didn't show up, Coach. I don't know what to say about Mizzou. I don't think they're a top-tier team. I think they're a top middle-tier team.
I would agree with that assessment. Boy, they gave one away.
Yeah.
They battled back and scored there with under a minute left or thereabouts, and boy, the defense just kind of fell asleep, and it cost them. That would have been a big win against another ranked opponent and on the road, and they just failed to get it done. And it's now they're playing for money. That pretty well eliminated them from the playoffs. They're not going to make that new playoff format, and now they're playing for bowl money. Yeah. So, there's something to be said about that. And hey, you think about it, 3 or 4 years ago, just mentioning Mizzou and the word bowl together was very rare, and it's become a staple now. So, it's Coach Drinkwitz and that staff have done a tremendous job up there, and the expectations are so high. We're so high coming into the season that it seems like a letdown, but man, I mean, you take a look. They've had a very good year overall.
Yeah. Well, I tell you this, I would call it somewhat of a letdown because I think the schedule, was set up to where they didn't play all the big boys. They were going to have to show up at Alabama, but they were going to miss some of the big boys. And Texas A&M kind of showed what they had. Hey, we're not done with collegiate sports, and we're going to jump into some high school athletics also. So when we get back, we're going to take a really quick break here on Huddle Up in the Bambino's Italian Cafe studio here on the Missouri Sports Network, and we'll jump right back into it. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'll have the avocado toast minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Yeah. Everything is so expensive these days. Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck. And a high-tech Chevy SUV. Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together we can do more.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
Welcome back here to Huddle Up inside the Bambino's Italian Cafe studio here on Missouri Sports Network. I am Jay Mack. That's Guy Newcomb, and that's the Coach of the Year, Darren Archer. Hey, look, we left the last segment talking about college football. We're going to start this one doing the same. Guy, we were talking about the BCS format before we get into our state collegiate football teams. What are your thoughts on how it's projected out and the 12-team format? You think it'll last and work?
Well, I tell you what, if you look at the 12-team format right now, and if the season were to end today, probably Boise State gets a bye. I mean, Boise State's biggest wins are against like Maryland and FIU. I mean, they didn't play anybody. They're not the number 4 seed. And I think, when you put these 12 teams together, I think you're going to have coaches maybe starting to get in trouble a little bit as this goes on. And I take Eli Drinkowitz at the top of this list right now because coming into the season, they were projected as an 8 or 9 ranked team. And for the first couple of weeks of the season, that's where they were until Texas A&M blew them out. But that pressure, because prior to that, it's just 4 teams make it. 4 teams, you don't make the playoff. We're at Mizzou. there's no expectations to make that 14 playoff. Well, now coming into the season, they were expected to make that, and I think you're going to see that with other coaches as well. And I mean, Indiana, they've had a tremendous season. They're undefeated. They haven't played anybody either. And they do have Ohio State, this coming weekend, but they're not one of the top 10, 12 teams in the country right now, even though they're undefeated. So
Indiana would beat Mizzou by 3 touchdowns.
I would doubt that if
they would beat by 3 touchdowns. I've seen them play several times.
Quarterback is healthy. If Brady Cook's healthy, there's no way.
Brady Cook regressed this year, if you ask me. I know he got hurt, but he wasn't doing anything spectacular to me. Their first 2 games, they played some teams that they should have beat up on really bad. They struggled against Vanderbilt, and they struggled against Boston College. I saw Mizzou struggle early, and I knew there's no way you're going to Tuscaloosa and win. Now, when you say they might be in trouble, I think there might be some trouble from the standpoint of the way they lost some of those games, and Luther Burden is gone. He's gone into the NFL, so you losing a top-tier talent there, wide receiver. So I think he might struggle, but I also think it's going to help some coaches because I think some coaches are going to kind of lay their hat on making it into one of those top 12 teams. But God, what you're saying is advocating for a power, not just a Power 5 NCAA. Because when we say that and we start diagnosing the Boise State, which I agree with, you just on name alone, I've probably seen Boise State play through highlights. I haven't watched the whole game, and so stop me when I get going. But now you're saying, you guys go play in your league and let the big boys hammer it out. Georgia lost 2 games. Who cares? Let them hammer it out. Tennessee is probably better, but let them hammer it out. So there's no parity. This is the closest thing we got to the NCAA tournament. Is saying, yep, they're going to be up there, and they're a top seed, and you're going to have to deal with it because that's the way we want it. We don't want you big guys just taking over everything. So I'll leave it at that, but I will say that, Indiana beat Mizzou by 3 touchdowns. Coach, what do you think?
Hoosiers. Yes, indeed.
I know that would make guys. I know that would rankle. He doesn't like that.
I'd be like the Cubs beat the Cardinals, boys.
3.5. Indiana would be 24 point. No, I'm just playing with you. But I'm telling you, Mizzou. What Mizzou has is the SEC. But what they don't have is a big time signature win. A&M is still, to me, and looked at a lot of people, and they beat them as a Big 12 team, even a Southwestern Conference team. I haven't seen Mizzou. They did almost beat Georgia. They don't. Alabama kind of plays them as the little brother of the conference. I mean, you beat up on the Vanderbilts and some of those teams, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if Mizzou is real or not. I just don't see the overall talent there that puts them in that class.
I digress, but I'm looking at Indiana's schedule, and I mean, yeah, they beat Maryland, and they beat Nebraska, who sucks.
Hold up. You can't say Nebraska. Nebraska's always going to be – Nebraska's going to be a solid win every year you play them. Last year, I probably wouldn't say that. But Nebraska, I watched them play USC last weekend. Nebraska's not a bad football team. Young quarterback, not a bad football team. Who else on that schedule?
Michigan State. Well, that was last year, but the Michigan State's on their schedule. Maryland, Charlotte. Good God, the fighting taxidermist or whatever the heck Charlotte is. That's a big win. Maryland, that's another big win. Northwestern, there's a huge win.
It's a Big Ten schedule. It's always been like that.
Yeah, and the conference makes that schedule up, but they didn't play anybody in the non-con.
Okay. Who Mizzou played non-conference?
I don't remember.
Miami of Ohio, I think they played a Toledo or something. They played a MAC team.
Boston College.
Boston College almost beat them. Should have beat them. I mean, it goes either way. I tell you this. If Mizzou is playing that schedule, they're 10-0, coach. If Mizzou is Indiana right now, Mizzou is 10-0, and you still got to play Ohio State. I'm telling you, they're very similar teams. They're very similar. If you think Indiana's no good, and you can't say Missouri's any good, because Missouri hasn't done anything that says, oh, they're pretty damn good. They're the same team. Coach, what do you think?
I agree. The difference is that Mizzou's in the SEC.
Yep.
And those poor guys are just beating the dog out of each other every week, and it's just a battle for survival to not lose any more than 2 games on the season to give yourself a chance.
Yep.
to get in. Hey, there's going to be some good SEC teams not going to the playoff format, new playoff format, that are probably better than at least the top or the bottom 4 or 5 seeds.
Yeah.
I mean, call a spade a spade.
I love it. That's called NCAA basketball. I love it. I don't want you guys going, we're all just going to team up. And I've lost 3 games, but I'm still going to be in a playoff hunt for winning that championship because I'm better than you. No, I don't like that. Play it out. I'm about to tell you something right now. Mizzou won't beat Arkansas. Guy, they won't beat Arkansas. Now,
that's going to be a tough one. I mean, if they get to 9 wins, which would mean they're going to have to win their last 2, and they've got Arkansas, and I can't remember who they have.
Mississippi State.
Yes. They get to 9 wins. They've done that one time, or that'll be the 4th time they've gotten to 9 wins, and the first time was 1899.
Yeah.
And then 1969, and then 2008. But that'll be the 4th time they get to 9 wins. So the program, doesn't have a lot to boast about, but unless you get to 9 wins, you're going to go to a bowl, you're going to get paid, and it may be the Weed Eater Bowl, but who knows?
Well, at least you get a Weed Eater for free. Hey, here we got to move on for this. SEMO's doing their thing, 9-2. Guy, they'll go to Western Illinois. They'll play Western Illinois this weekend. I'm sorry, they played Western Illinois last weekend. Am I right?
Yeah, they beat them. They won 54-45.
There you go.
Then up next, they have Tennessee State, who right now is sitting in 2nd place in the OVC, and if they win that game, they will win the OVC outright.
I know a friend of mine whose son plays for SEMO. He's excited about it. Proud of what they're doing. Happy for them. Because coming off of last year where they thought they had a good team and didn't perform on the field. Evangel, right here in the heart of a good old Springfield. Guy, what do you see them doing?
Well, they're done. They played their final season game against Bethel. They got a win 38-17, but they finished 8-2. Of course, they had the rain out game that they would not make up early in the season on the bye week, but they finished 8-2, and they're not going to make the playoffs this year. And it's their first 2 losses in the KCAC, and they lost them back-to-back weeks, and that knocked them out of the playoffs.
That's a bummer for those guys, man, especially those seniors who some of those guys will never put those pads on again. Coach, Southwest Baptist, the Bearcats, disappointing season, Coach. What do you say? What do you say to the Bearcats moving forward?
It has been, and just like you have to do every year, you got to go out and recruit the big boys. And the GLVC is becoming a much better conference as far as football is concerned, up and down the line. It used to be primarily a basketball conference, and that's really changed over the last 4 or 5 years. And with people getting better, you've got to recruit better kids, and I'm sure that's on the docket. They're probably out knocking on doors and watching football games right now. But you know how it is. It all comes down to recruiting when you're a college coach, and that game has changed quite a bit with transfer portal and NIL and so forth. I don't know that they see it as much at the Division II level as obviously you do at the Division I level, but they're still dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, disappointing season, but like I said, if you get into the recruiting battles and start going at it pretty hard, get you a couple talents. It doesn't take a lot nowadays to turn around a team. You get a player here or 2 there that can make a skill player, and if you can build your lineup. Where look at Colorado. Last year they were getting pummeled last 7 games. They go into the portal, get a couple linemen, let some guys develop, right? Get in that weight room, get stronger. Understand when you see that down block coming, here's what's happening. And then it doesn't take a lot to turn around. Plus, we can always get Guy. I think Guy got a couple years of eligibility left. We get him out there, and we're gonna put you in the porthole, not the portal, guy, the porthole, all right, and get you out to see we can get you playing. Hey,
J-Mac, I hate to step on your toes. Let me ask you a question. You mentioned Colorado.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders, a head coach at Colorado next year?
There's no way. Deion Sanders, he wants to see his son. If you had to tear this up, his quarterback son is his kind of prized possession. If he had a Lamborghini, a Porsche, and a Ferrari, and they all he's going to say, I love that Lambo. The Porsche and Ferrari, I love them, but this Lambo is special. And once that specialist run, he knows if you ain't got a quarterback, I mean, he not about to sit back there and take them whoopers. He ain't about, we don't have a quarterback no more. I'm out of here. I'll see you later. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to take these whoopers and let y'all talk about me all day.
I'm calling it right now.
Yeah.
Calling it right now. Deion Sanders will be the next head coach of Florida State.
With the way, you know what, with the way I'm hearing, I'm reading, the way that program is in a mess, it would be tough for him to go there. But yeah, but they got to have a quarterback. He's not guy. If they don't have a quarterback, Deion Sanders ain't playing in that game. He's not going to be coaching guy.
No, and I'm going to make a prediction. I think he's the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think he takes his son with him. They draft him, and they make Deion the head coach. And
I can see that. I can see that more than Florida State because the college game is such a crapshoot on players and portals, and and I don't think from what I heard last year he was a fan of that. He wasn't a fan of the portal as much as other coaches loved it or said, it's a useful. I don't know if he's along the line of Saban, like hating it, but I think he was more along the lines of, I don't like people coming to me asking me how much I'm going to get paid. I can see him going to Dallas because it just makes sense. I've heard the rumors because McCarthy's out of there for sure. And then you can say, well, he could sit his son down for a couple of years. I'm just regurgitating what I've heard. So, yeah, but what I can tell you right now, I ain't got a lot of money in my pocket. Make so bad. I think I got $2. Let me see. What I can tell you right now, he won't be in Colorado without a quarterback. Unless they got some stud coming in I don't know about, he's not taking them whoopings. So with that being said, I love that conversation. Hey, we ran a little long this segment, but that's a good thing. It was fun. Hey, you listen to Huddle Up here on Inside the Bambino's Fine Italian Studio on the Missouri Sports Network. We got one more segment. We're going to come back and get into some high school football and just some general sports. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Huddle.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State Campus, Hammons Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Welcome back, everyone, to Huddle Up here on the Bambino, the Italian Cafe Studio on the Missouri Sports Network. This is our final segment of the night. We're going to kick it off talking about a couple things. Once again, I'm Jay Mack. That's Coach. Like I said, for the rest of the year, he is the Coach of the Year, Darren Archer. Now, that might change midway through the season if he's 3-9. We're going to figure this out. But we don't want that for Coach. We don't want that. We want 9-3 and a team that's building. The other guy over there right now that had on that smile, that's Guy Nuka. We call him scoreboard guy. And so we're going to jump into this last segment. There's some teams that are kind of rolling here in the high school football scene. We're going to kind of specialize in that right now. I'm very interested just for the simple fact I've seen highlights of Nixa. I don't know how good Nixa is. Being a St. Louis kid, we've always said, man, some of these schools out here, if they came up there, they'd have a little trouble. But I think Nixa has some overall talent to play with who they got this weekend. And what are your thoughts on that game?
Well, they got Lee Summit North, who may be this may be the state championship game. Lee Summit North, undefeated on the season. This is the only matchup this week in the state that features two undefeated teams from 8-man all the way through Class 6. Both these teams are undefeated. Lee Summit North has played a better schedule with Nixa being in the COC. They got Webb City, who you thought they were down. They started the season 3-6, and here they are in the quarterfinals. At 6-6, and they've got to travel to Lee Summit North, and that's a long drive, and that'll make it a little bit tough. But Nixa historically may have one of the better offensive lines in the history of the state in high school football. They are very good up front, offensively and defensively. Dylan Ribera in the backfield, he's had an outstanding year. But they got this McKnight kid at quarterback that's a D1 quarterback. He's also a D1 basketball player and a D1 baseball player as a center fielder. Maybe the best all-around athlete in Southwest Missouri right now. So, that's a matchup everyone's looking at. You've got the Class 5, and right now it's Cardinal Ritter and everybody else. Republic, they have to play Helias, in the quarterfinals. Republic has played well. They do get their quarterback back who got injured in week 2. He is back. And then you got a Marionville team who's the defending state champion who, they've got a tough matchup, this weekend as well. And with Adrian, and I think Adrian and Coach Archer and I talked a little bit about this. Adrian may get them, in this matchup, but kind of, hiding in the weeds, so to speak, is St. Vincent. St. Vincent is very good. They beat a very good Valley Catholic team in Class 1. I think they're probably the state champs in Class 1. 8-man football, you got Lockwood is hosting Archie, and that may be the state championship game, in 8-man football. So we've got a lot of – Fair Grove is undefeated. They've got to go to Lafayette, which is Higginsville, basically. So there's a lot of great teams still remaining here in Southwest Missouri, but across the state. You look at a Kirkwood team who got a huge win over CBC last week, and now they've got Jackson, and they'll probably be favored, in that game in Class 6, and then they would get the winner of that Lee Summit North Nixa game. No, they wouldn't. This is quarterfinals. My apologies there, but looking forward to it. The games are kind of mixed up this, some are playing Friday and some are playing Saturday this weekend. So guys, if you need to get out and watch a game, you can go Friday night and then go Saturday and watch a great high school football game.
Yep. Thanks for that recap, Coach. Coach, you know what? I think Guy pretty much finished that off. Coach, you got anything to add on that before I want to jump into something with you, Coach, about some baseball? Anything to add on those high school coaches scores, Coach?
No, it should be some really good games this weekend. Chance to go to the Final Four, so to speak, for a lot of schools. And soccer state championships are being played as we record this. And there'll be some new state champions crowned here within the next 2 or 3 days.
Well, we'll report on that next time on the next show. And so for all our student athletes that are transitioning from basketball and the fall sports into the winter sports, good luck. MLB had their awards. I've kind of been down on baseball, being from a baseball city. When your team is just horrible, you kind of just go, everybody beats us. I don't know if there's a rookie of the year because every rookie we played against was a rookie of the year. It seemed like against the Cardinals, and every pitcher that went out there seemed like he should have won the Cy Young. Hell, one time I thought one of them was Cy Young. I didn't even know how bad the Cardinals were swinging the damn bat. But Guy, go into some of these awards that have been given out and tell us a little bit about your thoughts on them.
Yeah, you look at the rookies of the year. In the National League, you get Paul Skeens. He went 11-3, and in defense of the Cardinals, 2 of those losses were to St. Louis.
Yeah.
2 of his 3 losses were to St. Louis. He finished with 170 strikeouts, 1.96 ERA, and in the American League, it was Luis Gill, New York Yankees. He had 15 wins, 171 Ks, and 151 2/3 innings. He's the 10th Yankee to win the Rookie of the Year. And just a little known fact, the last time the Rookie of the Year award in both leagues were both pitchers was 1981. And that was New York Yankee Dave Righetti and LA Dodger Fernando Valenzuela.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to Fernando.
Yes.
Coach, manager of the year. Did that say Chicago Cubs? No, I'm sorry. Coach, who's the manager of the year? You want to report
Guarantee it didn't say Chicago Cubs. The National League, it was Pat Murphy from the Milwaukee Brewers, and he did a heck of a job. I mean, they had a fire sale last winter, and they put together a squad that was able to win the National League Central. And then the American League, Stephen Vogt, former player, Cleveland Guardians manager. There were some questions as to whether he was the right person for the job when he took over, and kind of the same situation. They had a young squad, a lot of new faces on the field, and was able to have a very successful season.
Yep. Guy, Cy Young just came out. Should we get a drum roll? Who won?
It is Tyreek Skubal.
Yep.
He won in the National League and in the American League, and in the National League it was Chris Sale, who also earlier just took home the comeback player of the year in Major League Baseball. Did Chris Sale?
Yeah.
And both of these pitchers were the Triple Crown winners in their leagues. In other words, they had the lowest ERA, the most strikeouts, and the most wins in their league, and that hasn't happened in 15 years. Going back to Justin Verlander and Clayton Kershaw, who did it, I believe, in 08, maybe somewhere in that area. So that was announced. And then tonight will be the most valuable player, and it's pretty sure it's going to be Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. I don't see any other way that's going to come out.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I put my $2 on that for sure. Guys, before we wrap it up, I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about the Missouri State men's basketball. I went to the game on Saturday and watched them play Tulsa. Scrappy team, not big, more athletic than last year's team, more scores, more options than last year's team for sure. But I leave the game with about 3 minutes left, right up under 3. I got my daughter. I got my 8-year-old with me. I got my youngest daughter with me. And I'm going to beat this crowd and get out of here. And sure enough, we're looking at Missouri. We're listening to the Missouri State Bears as they're getting that game had started. They're down 14-0. I go, I'll probably just catch on the radio. And then I got to make a couple errands around, and I get a phone call from my buddy. He said, man, this game's in the third overtime. And I couldn't believe it. And then I got a chance to watch the game last night on Hulu, which is out of all is crazy enough. The game was on Hulu. And so they're scrappy. And they put together, I'm happy for Conzo, 3 games in a row. And they're up next. They go to the Cayman Islands tournament on the 24th and open up with High Point. Guy, Coach, any closing words before we close out this segment in this show?
No, we're approaching here the holiday season, and folks, it's Thanksgiving coming up, and we'll see about a show next week with being on Thanksgiving Day. But hey, folks, go out and enjoy your families. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us: take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here next time for Huddle Up.
That's right. Coach, what about you? You got a new grandbaby, and so I know life is good.
Absolutely. Just going to enjoy the holidays and spend my Thanksgiving break in the gym, more or less, and I'm right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, for all of us here at the Missouri Sports Network, we wish everyone a happy holiday season, starting it off, and a happy Thanksgiving. We appreciate you listening. Once again, you've been listening to Huddle Up inside the Bambino's Italian Dining Room studio, and you have been tuning in to the Missouri Sports Network. Be safe, everyone. Until next time.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.